and welcome back to the fourth and final part of our course on how to create an online learning resource. In this part, we are going to talk about how to deliver. We've now designed the most amazing course, and now we need to deliver it. How do we turn it into a reality? First of all, think about your channels. Do you have an online platform available for learning, a virtual learning environment? Well, then you're lucky. You can use that. A lot of them are Moodle based, which is brilliant because it's an open source where you can find loads of add-ons that you can use to create the most marveling teaching opportunity. However, even if you don't have a dedicated virtual learning environment, there's loads of channels you can use. You can use social media for delivery, depending on your design. Any of those can help. You can also use GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar, Google Hangout, Zoom. Many of those are commercial platforms and software. However, they often allow you to use it for educational purposes or for a limited amount of time for free. Elements. If you think about what elements you need and you have already designed your course and you have identified what you need, first step is take stock. What do you already have? Especially for those of you who already have considerable experience with face-to-face teaching, you can actually use a fair few of your slides, pictures, videos from that and transfer it and transform it into online teaching. If you don't have it yourself, what can you get from colleagues and friends? If you can't get it from colleagues and friends, what is available online? Obviously, you need to be aware of copyrights, but what you can do, if you find a perfect video on YouTube, by any means use it. Don't download it and upload it into or as your learning resource, just use a link. And this is what YouTube, for example, is for. People want to share their videos, so they won't mind that you use the link to that. In reality, if you use an image, and you may have realized I used a Fairview image just on the last few slides, GoToMeeting won't come after me because I use their logo. They want that their software to be made known. So in reality, I think you're pretty safe if you do that. Once you have brought together all the things you already have or you can gain from other sources, you decide what still needs creating. Once you have a list of those resources that you still need to come up with, you decide what equipment is needed for that to create that content, but also already start to think, what do I need to deliver? And this includes hardware and software. Hardware, what cameras do I need? Often your inbuilt computer webcam is enough, or your iPhone or smart or other branded smartphone is enough. However, for example, if you want to record a surgery that you are doing, so from the surgeon's view, you might think about using a GoPro camera. If you don't have your hands free, do you need a lapel microphone? This is also recommendable if you want to film outside because this will reduce the noise. Do I need headsets? Do I need any equipment? Do I need animals? Do I need cadavers? Do I need a surgical kit, ultrasound machine? So think about all those things and come up with an equipment list. What software platforms do I need? Do I need to edit videos and images? In truth, uh, usually most smartphones already have an inbuilt editing software that will do it. Narrated slides. PowerPoint has a voiceover function. If you want to include a speaker as well, use a software called Camtasia. This is an add-on to PowerPoint. It's free for 4 weeks, so you can produce a fair few webinars in that time. Think about the webinar software you need to use or video conferencing. Do you need accounts for social media channels? What expertise, what help do you need for setup and delivery? You obviously need content experts, and they could just be you. It's good to get e-media help if you can, and it's also good to get admin support if you have the luxury. If you are planning on doing a course that goes on over a prolonged period of time, remember you need to provide support to your learners. You need to provide technical support, content support, and pastoral support. It gets really exhausting if you are the one who have to provide all that. So work in a team, make it a team effort. Someone needs to be available to answer the questions that come in, and someone needs to direct the course. You need to foster peer support. You need to foster and promote discussion fora. The discussion fora often need a kickstart where you plant questions. Someone needs to do the admin. Who is going to organize the tutors, the helpers, the participants? How will the course be advertised? Who and how will handle the administration? So please, in your next exercise, list what learning elements you have, what learning elements you can get from somewhere, and what learning elements you need to create, and what equipment you need to do so. And most importantly, have a think, who are the people you need to get on board? In the following section, I would like to talk you through a few guidelines for content, a few tips and tricks really. Guidelines for text. If you use text, break continuous text up every 5 to 8 lines. Add bullet point text or graphical items or activities. If you do have extended text, consider providing this in a PDF format. In text, if you want to emphasize something, use bold font. Use it sparingly and definitely avoid underlining. Dyslexic people really struggle with that. Use black font on a little bit off-white background. That's the easiest for dyslexic readers to read. Use a font size of 14 as a minimum. If we want to learn more about how to design text for dyslexic learners, please have a look at that style guide. Guidelines for images and videos. Remember, mobile learning requires downloading of content and accessing of content in a timely manner. So use images and videos sparingly. It's not about making it the prettiest, most amazing, visually appealing resource. It's nice, but really, trade-off is that it gets really clunky to use. So only use images and videos if they're really needed. Ensure that images and videos have been compressed, ready for screen delivery. Pixlr is a free software that helps you with that. Equally, don't go too small. Make sure you have a minimum of a 600 dpi resolution. Keep videos as short as possible. Deliver them in portions if necessary, or replace them with image sequences. Use video links rather than the actual video on your platform. So link it to YouTube or Vimeo or any other video platforms. If you use slides as part of a presentation, aim for 1 to 2 slides per minute of presentation. Use dark writing on light background. Use bullet points, preferably over continuous text. Use at least font size 24. And this also goes for the labeling of figures if you include any graphs or pictures. Plain, evenly spaced sans serif font, for example Arial, is preferably. Avoid block letters. Use bold font instead of underlining, and use a minimum of 1.5 spacing. To continue for slides, favor graphical display over text. Only use high quality images and videos, so use a minimum of 600 dpi per image, but keep the file size of those images and videos as small as possible. Do not use more than 2 pictures per slide. Make sure your images are appropriately zoomed in. If you want to show a lesion on a horse's foot, make sure you crop out the concrete floor around it. Focus on the area of interest. Only use relevant images. Images of your kids are cute, and images of your skiing makes everyone envious. But really remember, it's about a professional appearance. Keep videos as short as possible. Deliver them in portions if necessary. Tips for audio. Think about what is said. Focus on the key messages. Avoid rehashing facts the audience already knows. If you deliver a presentation and information to an audience of experienced equine orthopedic people, you don't need to start with explaining every single detail about the horse's foot. You can assume they already have some knowledge. Use repetition wisely. Repetition is sometimes good, but not if it's overdone. Think about how you say things. Volume. Make sure everyone can hear you easily. Use appropriate microphones. Pace. Do not overwhelm people by speaking too fast, and do not bore them by speaking too slowly. Intonation. Modulate your voice. Don't go at the same tone all the time. That makes it boring and hard to follow. And smile. People can hear that. You can hear when people smile. At the end, I would like you to give you some tips for live webinars if you want to go down that route. You need to start a live webinar with a welcome and housekeeping, pretty similar to what you should be doing in a face-to-face presentations. So welcome everyone and introduce yourself. It's really important that you test your audio. So can you hear me? Ask that question. Now don't wait for people to give you a verbal answer. Ask them to give you a thumbs up if your video conferencing or your platform has that function, or ask them to text in. Most webinar software, they have a text in function. So ask them to text in an okay if they can hear you. Can we hear you? Do a round robin introduction. Asking a group to volunteer information verbally in a webinar does not work very well because everyone waits. Everyone wants to be polite and doesn't say anything for quite a while, and then everyone starts talking at the same time. So have a name list ready and ask specific individuals to introduce themselves. As an icebreaker, ask them to add some information. Make sure it's brief to their name and role. For example, ask them what their favorite pet is. Use a webcam. If the size and connectivity allows it, run the session with video. We know it enhances engagement. People pay more attention to you if they can see you and you can see them. It also allows you to read the room. It allows you to see that everyone is falling asleep. Then you need to change something in your delivery. Introduce the functions of the online platform. Ask the learner to mute their microphone when they are not talking. That reduces the noise. So they need to know where the mute and unmute microphone button is. Introduce the texting and messaging function. You probably have already done it when you ask them whether they can hear you. You can also ask them, for example, text in your area of expertise. And then once everyone has done that, you can draw the learner's attention to the incoming text. In many platforms, the listener might have to enable this field or enlarge that window. If you are planning to use the poll function, again, that's a function that's really highly interactive and often available on online platforms. Create an interactive poll so people know how to use this. For example, do a yes and no poll. Ask, have you had previous experience with attending online courses? Use a multi-answer poll. What is your previous experience with online learning? Point out any other function that you're planning on using. For example, the hand wave. Breakout rooms. You can do group works, so you need to introduce breakout rooms if should that be available. People can take notes online in some of the platforms, so introduce that if you're planning on asking them to do that. Some general tips and tricks. Keep talking time to a minimum. The majority of time, the learner should be actively working. Set tasks and assign an appropriate time. Usually, I'm a big fan of group work in face-to-face seminars. However, this is often trickier technically to deliver in a synchronous live webinar. So what you do instead is you set the same task but for individuals. Break them down in appropriate portions. For example, 1 minute for a one answer question. Use text in function rather than voice responses. This makes it more manageable and a little bit snappier. What you then do, you summarize the incoming responses. So, for example, if you ask your group of learners, what is your favorite color? And they text that in, you summarize it and say, right, the majority of the learners present have indicated that red is their favorite color. If you want lengthy discussions, shift that to discussion boards rather than trying to do that all as part of a webinar. So once you get this all ready, make sure you have all material there. Everything should be ready in one folder. Most of us are happy to work with Word and PowerPoint and so on. So get your material ready there, and you will be able to copy and paste it across to your whatever online channel you use. The technical ins and outs differ between different virtual learning environments. So if you have the luxury, work with people who know their way around. For example, a dedicated e-learning designer. If you don't have that luxury to have one of those available, ask a colleague who may already have experience using a platform. Once you have implemented it on your channel, pilot it, pilot it, pilot it. Always pilot a new learning resource on a small number of learners who fit the intended market profile. This will allow you to identify and rectify any technical problems, identify genuine mistakes, but most importantly, you will be able to gain feedback from your learners about the level. Is it set correctly? Is it aimed too high or too low? Are the estimated times correct? Does the course deliver what the learner expected? And once you have gained that feedback, refine, refine, refine. Refine your course immediately after your pilot group. Refine it after each cohort based on feedback, but also on assessment results. And please, please continue refining any course according to new developments in your field and new research findings. Let's face it, I think we've all come across that one speaker that has been delivering the same lecture for the last 3 decades. I have certainly sat in lectures where I thought, well, that has been disproven 10 years ago. Don't be one of them. Pay attention to changing market requirements. For example, abdominal ultrasound in small animal practice is very common nowadays in primary care practice, whereas I would say in a fair few curricula around the world, it's not really taught that much. So that's one example. Make sure you know what the market needs, what the graduates need when they go out there, and adjust your the learning that you offer accordingly. So I'm going to come to an end here now. I just want to conclude that online learning is much, much more than just translating your face-to-face learning. It it really can do more. I think it's the future, and I personally think it's really fun. So your last task is create your own online learning course and present it to us. And if you do that, I'm pretty sure you deserve a big, big chocolate Easter egg. So thanks for listening, and I'm looking forward to see what you're producing.